courtesy to my wife, I got the cake here. Looks quite beautiful, smells nice. It's got quite a bit of dark tones, similar to this many Yan Qinghao productions. What I liked about it at first was just how kind of sweet and comforting and long it was. I think I grew up drinking I grew up in my tea career drinking very old tea. So it was either something was very, very dark and kind of like show puer like, or it was much more kind of in your face. And this is neither. This is really, it's still got some complex different layers, but it just goes on in a quite sweet and nice way. In my tier system, I would call this Black Stump version T3 plus, maybe even T4 minus. It's got some percentage of old tree blended in it. It's not a pure old tree, well, it's not a pure ancient tree production for sure, but it's got quite a bit of it. And yeah, I guess it's one of my personal favorites because it's one of the first ones I found in my new sourcing spree in Taiwan. I've been buying a lot of tea and this was one of the first ones. And yeah, it's just got this, well, we will see as we drink, but to me, it's got this nice combination of teak, comfortable and sweet. And it's not something I would want to drink every day, but then again, there's no tea I would want to drink every day, but it's something that's very comforting and nice. Yeah, that's everything I got to say about this tea. So it's 2004. It's Yiwu Zhengshan. Zhengshan meaning middle of the mountain. Again, it looks like this, which is quite nice. Yeah, there's a version without the black stamp, which is not Yiwu Zhengshan, it's just Yiwu. So kind of the Yiwu, general Yiwu area. They're actually very similar. I find this one a tiny bit higher quality. Or anyway, I prefer it slightly, but it's very slight. Yeah, that's everything I got on this tea. I haven't drunk this tea for a while, and I'm quite pleased I set this ceremony up. I would only, because I'm only always sampling new teas. I don't really usually drink the ones on the website that much. But this was great. So Metta means loving kindness in Buddhism. So that being like half of it. Half is wisdom, seeing that there's no such thing as any being, and the other half is Metta, the wish for all beings to be enlightened. Metta is also the name of my dog. It's a very cuddly golden retriever. And this is really how I felt as I drank it. Like it felt like maybe a puppy slightly older than her, like very cuddly, big, furry, comfortable. Like comfortable and cozy is really about this tea. I think I gave it a quite high score for Qi on comfortable and depth, but not that high on calming and intense, like I think about 3. So the combination of these two means it's a very subtle tea. I think it would be very easy to miss what's good about this tea completely Qi-wise if you were talking about it. Because yeah, it doesn't have a very strong calming or intense effect. Like for myself, it was a sensation of well-being and happiness. But there was still thinking. It wasn't that intense. It wasn't the kind of tea that completely shuts my mind easily. It requires a little bit of work for me to get into a more still space. Yeah, I mentioned before there's this brand called Yang Qinghao, which is quite famous in Taiwan and, well, actually in the West. And this to me is a better version of it. It's kind of thicker, darker, more satisfying, it's got more depth. Yeah, also it's got this combination of there are still complex layers, but also it's got dark tones. But this is what I was saying at the beginning. Um, Usually, these more refined tea tend to be very dry stored, while this has been stored in a natural way. And I think the storage is really a large part of what's good about this tea. I don't see it changing and developing that much more because it's already been stored with quite enough humidity to make it transform quite a lot. But at the same time, it doesn't have any storage smell. It's very clean. Um, that's quite rare actually. Quite a lot of teas could have very good material, but then they're not stored that well. What else? Yeah, I find that this is a bit more depth than the normal version, slightly more. I guess that's like a little bit more patience, depth. Aftertaste and Huigan are quite good. Can still feel it in the mouth. But yeah, another thought is that this is the kind of tea that's comfortable if to drink more than one tea. So it's got, for me, it's got a comfortable 5 out of 5. It's very comfortable. It's the kind of tea that, yeah, if I had like 2 or 3 like this, I could actually drink them, as opposed to a more exciting, young, high chi tea. Those I could probably drink one. Yeah, I think that is all. So yeah, I said the storage is natural. To me, I think I was really undecided between T3 plus and T4 minus. I think it's T3 plus because it doesn't have that much patience, and also the Chino being that calming or intense. I think I lean slightly more towards T3 plus, but I had a lot of fun. Like I started feeling really quite happy at the beginning. Yeah, yep, that's everything for me. Una has disappeared. So Thomas, do you want to share anything?
Yeah. Well, taste-wise, it started for me almost like fuchsia, like something that, you know, they ferment with this golden flower thing. It really reminded the smell and also the taste in the beginning was really like that. And then it started like developing towards more fruitiness. First, it felt quite dry, and I liked how it opened towards this fruitiness and freshness. But I generally like more this fresh, younger Sheng kind of taste, and very dry storage. So the taste was, for me, it was interesting, but not perhaps the 10 out of 10. But the interesting story was about the energy. Like for me, the energy was really strong, but it didn't open up right away. It just developed in the body and like gathered more and more, but it didn't move anywhere. It was like it didn't, like, quite often it is like going upwards or going towards, like rooting you, but this one just was in the body and kind of like ringing in the body, and just wrapped myself like into the soft blanket, saying that, okay, here you are, look at you now. And then there was some resistance at some point, like there was so much of this presence of this energy that it felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to drink this tea anymore. So it started, like, for me, it started really like kind of, you know, masculine presence, like very, really neutral, and just holding very neutrally. And then there was this resistance, and then when I was just staying with that, then I went through this resistance, and then it turned out that it developed towards more feminine quality for me. It came more tender and caring in a way, and then it finally like opened up like some softness in me as well. And also it was at the same time when the taste also like opened more of this fruitiness, I would say. But yeah, the journey was really interesting, and it was really like it didn't get me anywhere. It was just there, and saying when it reached this more feminine part for me, it just saying, okay, darling, if you're ready, we can go, but it's up to you to choose. So I feel that it has some, I don't know, some medicine quality perhaps for me, but I think this first meeting was just not enough to actually know this tea. There might be a lot more, might be not, but it was just scratching the surface. And I agree with you, like you said in the beginning, it's not the everyday tea. It takes some devotion to take time and drink this tea, and just right mindset. But it's definitely interesting to explore, and for me it has quite strong energy. So I'm looking forward to maybe investigate this potential more someday.
Thanks. I want to add a few things actually. Yeah, one thing I forgot to say. Yeah, subtlety usually gets much better when you drink it more than once. Um, I think that's a characteristic of subtle, both in terms of chi and taste teas. Like at first you drink it, and okay, but then much like, I don't know, much like a partner that's not very shiny but has a lot of depth. The more time you spend with them, the more you start to appreciate it. I think myself, the first time I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then for the second time, I was like, oh, I see. What else did I want to say? Um, yeah, so I just developed this thing about chi of like with four different characteristics, like calming, intense, depth, and comfortable. And I have to say, something in this tea kind of made me question the structure a bit. There was like my mind wasn't that quiet, and yet there was something to it. I don't know, something quite different from the kind of tea I drink usually.
Yeah, it also reminds me that at some moments it really felt it doesn't add anything and it doesn't take away anything. So it felt very mundane, if you will. But then the moment I was thinking it, it was like like uh, getting myself from hand and just taking me back. Okay, where are you going? We are in this relationship here. So again, I was wrapped into this blanket and was asked to just be with myself and observe what's there. So I think it has more complex like things to offer than something that can just described with calming and these dimensions.
Yeah, and last thing I want to do is just show. I've been boiling it, just for reference, since people might be watching this. This is kind of how it comes out, kind of dark. I think this is a fair representative color, even of the first steeping, tiny bit lighter maybe, but this kind of dark orangey. Una, do you want to share something?
Yeah, sorry. I've got to plug in my battery, and the chargers have something wrong in my tea room. And hi, I didn't say hi because I didn't want to break the energy this morning. And it's really, really lovely to have tea with you and see your view and your cat. And imagine what's Chris doing on his side. Is he okay? And yeah, it's really nice to have tea with other people than having tea just on my own. It's quite different. And I haven't had this tea for a long time. Wow. And the smell at the beginning was really, really, really tempting. But my first sip was not that pleasant because I think it's because I had some breakfast and it didn't go really well with my palate at the beginning, with a bit of astringency, which is not great to to describe a tea. So but with the tea brewing processing, it tended to be less. The astringency was less and less, and I noticed that there's the sweetness remaining in the end sides of my tongue, which is quite different to the teas I have been drinking recently. So mostly I found sweetness lie on the tip of my tongue, but this tea is a bit, a bit backward. Yeah. Yeah, and qi. So firstly, it stayed in my crown chakra, and I've got a busy mind as well. So I wasn't really concentrated in meditation, but this tea gave me the strength to, to focus on my head. And then there's a ray of sunrise just spotted on my head. I was like, okay, I'm accumulating the energy now. And then the sun went away, and so it's slightly just flowed down through my body. It's interesting because it never happened to me. So today it just flowed through my neck and my shoulders and my spine. I was like, oh, that's quite comfortable because I was able to, it's like I hear my spine clicked, and it's like, oh, it's like a massage. It was quite pleasant. And yeah, normally the energy flow through my, the front body instead of behind. So that's quite interesting. And I realized maybe I've been doing some office work, so maybe it's my posture, and just I need some love for my body, my spine, my muscles. So yeah, that's probably that. Overall, I was thinking quite a lot because I had a shamanic sound healing journey yesterday, and I'm still digesting it. And I think, yeah, what I was thinking mostly about was self-love and love from, the society. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.